Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The North Ridgeville City Council meeting is now in session. Today is Monday, December 4th, 2023. Please rise for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. That's right. Father, we come together this evening and we thank you for all the blessings in our lives, for the wonderful community in which we live, and for the opportunity to serve it as our city council. We ask for mutual understanding and discernment during our meeting this evening and always. We pray these things in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, please call the roll.
Swink.
Here.
Toth.
Here.
Abens.
Here.
Winkle.
Here.
Awig.
Here.
DeVries.
Here.
Jacobs.
Here.
Mr. Mayor.
Here.
Law Director.
Here.
Engineer. Finance Director. Clerk of Council. Here.
Tonight, under the approval of minutes, we have the public hearing meeting minutes dated November 6th, 2023. Are there any changes or corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, the minutes stand approved. Also before us this evening are the City Council meeting minutes dated November 20th, 2023. Do I hear any changes or corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, those minutes stand approved as well. Please note, Council is also in receipt of the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting minutes dated October 25th, 2023, Civil Service Commission meeting minutes dated November 8th, 2023, as well as the Administrative Committee meeting minutes dated November 20th, 2023. That'll bring us to our lobby session. In a moment, I will open our lobby. As a reminder to those here in council chambers, we do ask that you please speak from the podium, and we will allow you up to 3 minutes to speak regarding any matter pertaining to the affairs of the city of North Ridgeville or the business of City Council. I will take in order the written submissions that I have first. So at this time, lobby session is now open. JD Kankowski? If you could please start by stating your name and address for the record, and at that time, your 3 minutes will begin, JD.
Sure. J.D. Gonkowski, 34823 Cambridge. Just coming to support Team 134. It's a purchase of property. I'm a member of the planning committee, and we don't have a lot of big plays left in this city. This purchase will help us keep this open for development that will benefit the city instead of having houses every 50, 60 feet. Could be industrial, commercial, whatever, to help the tax base so it's not all residential. That's the number one thing we've heard from constituents, and I think you're going forward with that. I hope you pass it soon. Thanks.
Thank you for being here, JD. Appreciate it. Up next is Shelley Kersey.
Good evening. My name is Shelley Kersey. I live at 37886 Stony Lake Drive in North Ridgeville, Ohio. Ms. Swank, Mr. Toth, Mr. DeVries, Mr. Jacobs, Mr. Abens, Mr. Winkle, and Ms. Awig. First off, I don't know if you have the answer yet or not, but if you do have the answer, if somebody could give me a call and let me know what the impartial investigation costs, I would greatly appreciate that. Tonight, I believe you will be asked to rule on the rule of three that has been proposed by our mayor. In my research, as well as reading the research done by Mrs. Ngali, I have found that those who wish to be promoted are to take a written exam, an assessment center, and the top score or scores are to be promoted. I also believe a leadership assessment should be included. The mayor has talked about this change called the rule of three, meaning the appointing authority, who in this case would be the mayor, is then to make the decision who is promoted. To my knowledge, he has no police academy training, fire academy training, EMT paramedic training, or supervisory experience in those areas. That is the person that would make the call on these promotions. I believe our city employees deserve an equal chance to be promoted based on their knowledge, their experience, and their ability to lead and to retain good quality trained officers. Both our police and fire departments have spoken out against this, as well as their department heads. Sadly, they were ignored. I would like you all to know that we already have these well-trained, well-respected members of our police and fire department. These people know what it takes to be a good leader and set a good example for their fellow employees. I'm sure some of them may have already taken the promotional exam and passed it as well. These are people that should be given the chance to lead their fellow officers, take their new recruits under their wings, so to speak, show them the right way, offer training and a chance to show that they can be good leaders as well, and to do so with respect and dignity, not simply because you side with one party or another, or any personal relationships you may have. These people put their lives on the line for us each and every day. They put their heart and soul into their profession, and they deserve a chance to make our departments a place people want to work, not to run from. Our safety forces deserve the support of this council and this administration, and far better than what they have endured in the past. I've spoken with friends and officers from other departments who are just waiting to have our officers come to their departments. We as a city cannot afford to lose our experienced officers. I love the city that I live in. I appreciate these men and women who every day put their lives on the line for us, because at any minute they could lose that opportunity. I had a police officer friend who that happened to. I'm asking you to please take the time, do your research, and please be the voice for our departments. They deserve that and so much more. And I thank them for all they do. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mrs. Kersey. There are no more written submissions this evening. Is there anybody else in the audience that would like to address council or the administration this evening? Okay, seeing none, the lobby session is now closed. We will move on to administrators' reports. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President. We have several items that we will be asking for the emergency for, and with the finance director being unavailable this evening, I will wait until we read those to discuss those items at that time. We have the Community Foundation of Lorain County is assisting with the outreach for the Lorain County 5-year strategic action plan being developed by the Lorain County Commissioners and Future IQ. Residents are invited to participate by completing a stakeholder survey and/or attending a workshop. You can find the link to the survey on the city's website at nridgeville.org, as well as the 9 workshops being held throughout the county. One will be held in North Ridgeville at Sandy Ridge Reservation on Tuesday, December 5th, which is tomorrow, from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. If this date time is not convenient, feel free to attend one of the other offerings. On Wednesday at 6 p.m. in the Police Department Training Room, we have another edition of our Master Plan Steering Committee. That meeting, as always, is open to the public. If you're looking for more information, including the agenda, visit the city's website at nridgeville.org or the Master Plan Steering Committee's website, ridgevilleready.com. We have another edition of Coffee and Conversation taking place on Wednesday, December 13th from 8:30 to 9:30 here in Council Chambers. And that's a great session to get some information about what's going on in the city. We had a holiday wreath donation from Starting Line Church in North Ridgeville. They donated 9 handmade holiday wreaths, which we have displayed throughout City Hall and here in Council Chambers as well. We appreciate their thoughtfulness and creativity. I hope everybody went to Holiday on the Ridge. That event went very well. A lot of the participants, participating businesses, were very happy with the turnout that they received, and we had a great turnout at the tree lighting ceremony as well. So it was a great time overall throughout the city. I do want to, you said you were going to do this, but I'll just take the time to do it now. I'm making the motion to suspend the bylaws to make some changes to the agenda, and we'll do the suspension of the bylaws first, because there's two different pieces that we want to introduce. So move to suspend the bylaws and introduce T-140 to add that to the agenda this evening.
The motion was made by the mayor and seconded by Swank to suspend the bylaws and add T-140 to tonight's agenda under first readings. Clerk, please call the roll.
Swank.
Yes.
Toth.
Yes.
Abens.
Yes.
Winkle.
Yes.
Awig.
Yes.
DeVries.
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries and T-140 has been added to the agenda.
And then I'll also make the motion to add T-115 to the agenda this evening as well.
Second.
Motion was made by the mayor and seconded by Swank to dispense with the bylaws and add T-115 to tonight's agenda under second readings. Clerk, please call the roll.
Swank.
Yes.
Toth.
Yes.
Abens.
Yes.
Winkle.
Yes.
Awig.
Yes.
DeVries.
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries and T-115 has been added to tonight's agenda on second readings.
You do that one?
And then along those same lines, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to remove T-97 by tabling it until which time the city receives the survey that goes along with that particular piece of legislation, which is the vacation of the paper Elm Street. The motion was made by Jacobs and seconded by Swank to suspend the bylaws, amend the agenda to remove T-97 by tabling it until which time the city receives the survey. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Swank.
Yes.
Toth.
Yes.
Abens.
Yes.
Winkle.
Yes.
Awig.
Yes.
DeVries.
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries and T-97 2023 has been tabled.
Okay, at this point, I'd like to invite Lieutenant Pat West up to the podium to present a life-saving award.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here. What brings us here today is the award to Patrolman Chad Siebenek of the Life Saving Award. And that Life Saving Award is defined as the following. If an officer or employee's actions led to the prolonging of life to the extent that the victim was released to the care of medical authorities, he or she is eligible to receive this award even though the victim may expire at a later time. To tell you more about what brought us here today and why Chad is deserving of this award, I'd like to tell you that as chairman of the awards committee, the officers that are nominated by their peers. And in this case, Patrolman Siebenek was nominated by his peers, and then as part of the committee process for awards, it goes through a review by awards committee members who are made up of command and patrol officers. And those officers review the award and determine or vote if the award should be sustained, amended, or rejected. And in this case, unanimously, this award was sustained by the members of the committee, and that's what brought us here today. Just to tell you a little bit about the event that highlights this award, I'd like to take you back to September 6th of this year. Patrolman Mobley, Patrolman McGraw, and Patrolman Siebenek responded to the Super 8 motel lobby area for a 59-year-old man that was unresponsive. Upon arrival, the police department officers assessed the victim and determined that he had no pulse and was unresponsive. They immediately and decisively took action. They brought the victim down to the ground. Patrolman Mobley sustained the victim's head, and Patrolman Siebenek immediately started performing CPR on the victim. After the paramedics arrived and took over life-saving efforts, it was determined that Patrolman Siebenek's efforts caused the victim to survive this event. Now, unfortunately, this victim was experiencing a litany of medical problems, and he could not be here today as he has since passed away. And that victim, 59-year-old Robert Harmon, was the person that Patrolman Siebenek was able to save. And I think this just demonstrates to everyone the level of dedication, training, and commitment and decisiveness that the officers here in North Ridgeville have. They're highly trained, they're dedicated, and they're motivated. So with that, I would like to call Patrolman Siebenek up to the podium. Chad? And I can tell you that as Chad's direct supervisor, he works on my shift. He does an outstanding job every day in everything that he does. He is new to our agency. He's only been here about a year. He is originally from Grandview Heights. This is the agency he worked at before for several years, before he joined our team as his family relocated to this area. So it's a pleasure to have him, and I think that he's an asset to the agency and the community. And Chad, thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Good job. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Mr. President, I move to go into executive session to consider the purchase of property and to conference with the public body's attorney concerning pending or imminent court action.
Motion was made by the mayor and seconded by Swank to go into executive session for the reasons just stated by the mayor. Clerk, please call the roll.
Swank.
Yes.
Toth.
Yes.
Abens.
Yes.
Winkle.
Yes.
Awig.
Yes.
DeVries.
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries in executive session.
The one ring that's not polished anyway. Look, I got some greats. Here's what I would change. Position, so it's easy to sit outside. It doesn't.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. We are now back in regular session. Mr. Mayor, if you could please continue with your report.
Mr. President, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. City Engineer?
Thank you, Mr. President. Our hydrant replacement project is scheduled to advertise this week for construction. We are anticipating replacing at least 36 fire hydrants and their respective valves throughout the city. T-135 is on tonight's agenda, so engineering can move forward with advertising this particular project for construction of a new box culvert over the Watson Ditch on Maddock Road, just north of the Turnpike Bridge. The existing three-sided culvert was built, we think, about 1950 and has significant deterioration, including a fair amount of exposed rebar and eroded footers. This project was awarded OPWC funds by way of a $335,000 grant and a $64,000 loan, which should cover the majority of construction. Lastly, engineering recently sent letters out to all of our commercial property owners, which includes approximately 45 properties, informing them that any stormwater credits they are currently receiving on their monthly utility bill are in jeopardy of being removed unless they make application for the credit to the engineering office by March 29th, 2024. The application can be found within the stormwater utility manual. There's a link for it on our engineering homepage on the right-hand side, or you can contact the engineering office for a copy. In order to receive the credit, there are a number of items that will need to be submitted to confirm that all stormwater management controls are in good working order. There's also a $170 application fee that needs to accompany it, and any questions can be directed to our office. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Although she is not here, the Director of Finance has provided council with the October 2023 financial report. We are also in receipt of the October 2023 Parks and Recreation Division report. There is a council committee report on tonight's agenda. Clerk, if you could please read the administrative committee report dated November 20th.
Administrative Committee Report dated November 20th, 2023. The committee reviewed and considered T-115, 2023. The committee made a motion to send T-115, 2023 back to City Council for consideration.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Abens.
move to accept. Second.
Motion was made by Abens and seconded by Winkle to accept the administrative committee report. All in favor signify by saying yes. Yes. All opposed say no. Motion carries. We've already done that. Okay, there's no correspondence, old business, or new business, which brings us to recess.
Mr. President, move to dispense with recess. Second.
It's moved by Winkle and seconded by Awig to dispense with recess. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say yes. Yes. All opposed say no. Recess has been dispensed. We'll move along to first readings. And up first is T-133.
T-133-2023, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of North Ridgeville to enter into amended agreement with the city of Avon regarding sanitary sewer use and tap-in fees for Countryside Estates Number 1, formerly known as Y. Subdivision Number 2 of J&R Land Company.
Mr. President,
Yes,
Move-
Mr. Mayor?
move to dispense with the second and third readings for T-133.
Second.
It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Abens to dispense with the second and third readings for T-133. Are there any comments or questions?
Mr. President, this subdivision is in Avon on the north side of Mills Road, and they tap into one of our sewer systems. The tap-in fees were paid when the subdivision was built, but they have their sewage coming into our line. And while this issue's been several decades old, the city was never collecting a fee for that sewage coming into our line. And just like everybody else has to pay for the maintenance of our lines within our community, they were not paying their fair share. So we worked out an agreement with Avon to have that fee created, and they will collect it and give that money to us. And so we'd like to have that go into effect immediately. And so I will ask for the emergency clause on this, but it has been a conversation that we've been having for several months, if not year, about this fee. So, we'd like to start collecting the funds to help maintain our line.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Are there any additional comments or questions? So again, the motion was made by the mayor and seconded by Abens to dispense with the second and third readings for T-133. All in favor say yes. Yes. All opposed say no.
Mr. President, move to adopt.
Second?
Mr. President, move to add the emergency clause so we can start collecting that fee.
Second?
It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Abens to add the emergency clause to T-133 in order to start collecting that fee. On the emergency clause, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. It was then moved by the mayor and seconded by Abens to adopt T-133 with the emergency clause in place. Do we have any comments or questions at this time? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swank?
Yes.
Toth?
Yes.
Avens?
Yes.
Winkle?
Yes.
Awig?
Yes.
DeVries?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0, becomes ordinance number 6118-2023.
T-134.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with William D. Farver and Cheryl A. Farver for the purchase of real property.
Mr. President, move to dispense with the second and third readings.
It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Swank to dispense with the second and third readings for T-134. Are there any comments or questions?
Mr. President, we've taken a look at this property and have had discussions with the owner for quite some time. We've been fortunate enough that she has been patient and while we've worked through some issues on our end. But this piece of property for the future of the city is important. It's an opportunity to buy a pretty significant piece, and we're looking to rezone it into industrial land, which I believe everybody is interested in bringing more businesses into the city. I've said it before that in some cases, the property owners won't rezone the property themselves, that we may have to purchase property in order to start to create more of that industrial commercial land ourselves. This is an attempt to do that. And in the interim, since we started having our conversations, we also know that the seller has been approached by 2 different residential developers who are looking to put residential homes in there. So essentially, it achieves 2 of our goals by converting the property out from residential zoning to industrial zoning, which would be secondary steps after we purchase it. But it also allows us to create a better balance between residential and that commercial industrial business property.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Are there any additional comments or questions? Again, it was moved by the mayor and seconded by Swank to dispense with the second and third readings for T-134. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no.
Mr. President, move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, move to add the emergency clause so we can secure this piece before somebody else does.
It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Swank to add the emergency clause to T-134 for the reasons just stated by the mayor. On the emergency clause alone, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. It was then moved by the mayor and seconded by Swank to adopt T-134 with the emergency clause in place. Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swank?
Yes.
Toth?
Yes.
Avens?
Yes.
Winkle?
Yes.
Awig?
Yes.
DeVries?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0 and becomes ordinance number 6119-2023.
T-135.
T-135-2023, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of North Ridgeville
to advertise for bids and enter into a contract according to law and in a manner prescribed by law with the lowest and best bidder for the Maddock Road Box Culvert over Watson Ditch and other appurtenances in the amount not to exceed $440,000.
136.
136.
136-2023, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with the city of Elyria for sanitary sewer service at Taylor Street.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
move to dispense with the second and third readings.
Second.
It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Winkle to dispense with the second and third readings for T-136. Are there any comments or questions?
Mr. President, there used to be an agreement between the two cities, which had expired quite a few years ago. It goes back 2009. And we are still receiving the service that this contract discusses from Elyria, where they take this sanitary sewer from the businesses that are along Taylor and brings it to their system. It's kind of a screwy situation where the facility planning area of Elyria actually comes into the city of North Ridgeville and covers that street. And that's because when the street was put in and those businesses were put in years ago, that was the only sewer that was available for that area. What we had figured out was that the price that we were paying was completely out of whack, and we started negotiating a reduced fee with Elyria quite some time ago. We have recently nailed down the specifics of that agreement to continue under the old rules. If we did nothing, we'd be paying more than what this contract speaks to. And the reason for the emergency clause is the mayor of Elyria lost his election, and we have worked out this agreement with the people that are in place now. And we'd like to have this agreement signed before the end of the year, before the Elyria mayor leaves office. So while some of the people are likely to stay, we don't want to run any risks. The agreements, as you know, all contracts have to be signed by mayors. We'd like to have him sign it before he walks out the door. So I'll be asking for the emergency clause for this.
Are there any additional comments or questions? It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Winkle to dispense with the second and third readings for T-136. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no.
Mr. President, move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, move to add the emergency clause so that we may secure this contract prior to the end of the year.
Second.
It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Winkle to add the emergency clause to T-136 in order to secure the contract before the end of the year. On the emergency clause alone, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. It was then moved by the mayor and seconded by Winkle to adopt T-136 with the emergency clause in place. At this time, are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swink.
Yes.
Toth.
Yes.
Abens.
Yes.
Winkle.
Yes.
Awig.
Yes.
DeVries.
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0 and becomes ordinance number 6120-2023.
T-137.
T-137-2023, an ordinance amending Exhibits A, B, and C of ordinance number 6065-2023 by updating full and part-time classifications and Section 8 vacation.
T-138.
T-138-2023, an ordinance providing appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of North Ridgeville, Ohio for the period commencing January 1st, 2024 and ending December 31st, 2024.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. DeVries.
motion to dispense with the second and third reading?
Second.
It was moved by DeVries and seconded by Awig to dispense with the second and third readings for T-138. Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
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 All opposed say no.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. DeVries.
motion to adopt?
Second.
Mr. President, motion to add the emergency clause so that this can be paid in a timely manner?
Second.
I'm sorry, what was the reason?
So that this can get paid in a timely manner.
For T-138?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're appropriating money
This is for 2024, right?
oh,
Yeah.
so we can probably get this over to the auditor's office in time?
Is that right? 24? I believe it should say 2023.
There's a 2023 appropriations amendment as well. That's T-139. this is T-138, which is referring to 2024 appropriations. Is this the one that you
Oh.
intended to make the motion on, or was it?
Wait, hold on a second.
Mr. President, point of order, I think there's a December 18th deadline for the county for this one.
Okay.
So, right, this is the, I'm sorry, I was daydreaming. This is for the budget for next year. So, right? Or, I'm sorry.
It is. Yes, it is.
Okay.
It says with the emergency clause of the December 18th, 2023 meeting, in order to meet the county deadline. That was April's explanation in her email.
Okay. Well, so the motion, it was moved by DeVries and seconded by Awig, I believe, to add the emergency clause to T-138 in order to meet the county's deadline. On the emergency clause alone, all in favor say yes.
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 All opposed say no. It was then moved by DeVries and seconded by Awig to adopt T-138 with the emergency clause in place. At this time, are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swank.
Yes.
Toth.
Yes.
Abens.
Yes.
Winkle.
Yes.
Awig.
Yes.
DeVries.
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries and becomes ordinance number 6121-2023.
T-139.
T-139-2023, an ordinance amending ordinance number 6031-2022 of the city of North Ridgeville, Ohio, providing appropriations for the period commencing January 1st, 2023, and ending December 31st, 2023.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. DeVries?
motion to amend T-139 to the correct calculations that were forwarded to council by the Director of Finance on December the 1st, 2023.
Second.
The motion was made by DeVries and seconded by Awig to amend T-139 as described by Mr. DeVries. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Swank.
Yes.
Toth.
Yes.
Abens.
Yes.
Winkle.
Yes.
Awig.
Yes.
DeVries.
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
The legislation was amended.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. DeVries?
motion to dispense with the second and third reading for T-139.
Second.
It was moved by DeVries and seconded by Awig to dispense with the second and third readings for T-139. Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. DeVries?
motion to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, motion to add the emergency clause so this can get paid in time and manner.
Second.
It was moved by DeVries and seconded by Awig to add the emergency clause to T-139 for the reasons stated by Mr. DeVries. On the emergency clause alone, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. It was then moved by DeVries and seconded by Awig to adopt T-139 with the emergency clause in place. At this time, are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swank.
Yes.
Toth.
Yes.
Abens.
Yes.
Winkle.
Yes.
Awig.
Yes.
DeVries.
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries and becomes ordinance number 6122-2023.
T-140.
T-140-2023. An ordinance amending the zoning map of the city of North Ridgeville such that permanent parcel number 0700046108 012 and 0700046108 113 located at 39097 Center Ridge Road be rezoned from B3 Highway Commercial District to I2 Light Industrial District.
Okay, moving on to second readings. T-115.
T-115-2023, an ordinance amending the number system of the City of North Ridgeville legislation starting in the year 2024.
T-124.
T-124-2023, an ordinance amending ordinance number 4268-2006, number 2752-93, number 1922-84, number 1559-79, and number 1275-77, providing for salary changes for council members and council president effective January 1st, 2026.
T125.
T125-2023. An ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of North Ridgeville, Ohio, to provide amendments to the general offenses North Ridgeville City Code sections 606.01.10, 12, 15, 17, 19, 21, 29, 618.20, 624.01, 025, 03, 04, and 05, 628.10, 630.10, 636, 636.02, 05, 09, 10, 11, 12, 20, 23, 642.01, 2.035, 145, and .31, 648.05 and 07, 666.01, 05, 07, 11, and 99, 672.02, 04, 15, 16, 698.02, 3, and 5, to provide for penalties, to provide for codification, to provide for severability, to repeal conflicting ordinances, to provide an effective date, and for other purposes.
Thank you, Nick.
I think we should pass it just as it's the third time.
I'm not allowed.
Well, actually, by way of explanation, so T125 refers to the city's general offenses code, which mirror the Ohio Revised Code. And so from time to time, the Ohio Revised Code gets updated and there are changes that are made. And so we essentially automatically, adopt those changes when they happen. But T125 is simply allowing the city's contracted codifier to actually go into our list of ordinances on the website and make those changes, reflect those changes of the Ohio Revised Code there. So with that in mind, and, out of respect for Nick's, I will make a motion to dispense with the third reading for T125.
Second.
So the motion was made by Jacobs and seconded by DeVries to dispense with the third reading for T125. Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. I will then make a motion to adopt.
Second.
I'll make a motion to add the emergency clause for the safety and general welfare of the people of North Ridgeville.
Second.
It was moved by Jacobs and seconded by DeVries to add the emergency clause to T125 for the safety and general welfare of the people of North Ridgeville. On the emergency clause alone, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. It was then moved by Jacobs and seconded by DeVries to adopt T125 with the emergency clause in place. This time, are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swink?
Yes.
Toth?
Yes.
Abens?
Yes.
Winkle?
Yes.
Awig?
Yes.
DeVries?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
The has been adopted 7-0, and the ordinance is 6123-2023.
Okay. One more. T126.
T126-2023, an ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of North Ridgeville, Ohio, to provide amendments to traffic North Ridgeville City Code sections 402.075, 24, 36, and 37, 412.04, 416.06, 432.14, 22, 28, 30, 33, and 39, 434.01, .011, .03, .035, .07, .08, .09, 436.021, 436.09, 438.16, 436.165, 438.17, 23, and 28, 440.11 and 15, 442.01, 04, and 025, 476.01, 03, 04, and 08, to provide for penalties, to provide for codification, to provide for severability, to repeal conflicting ordinances, to provide an effective date, and for other purposes.
Just like T125, although that pertained to the general offenses code, T126 is the same thing, but refers to the traffic offenses code. So again, this is just allowing our outside codifier to update our code to match that of the Ohio Revised Code.
Mr. President?
Yes, Mrs. Swink?
The third reading?
I'm sorry?
I move to dispense with the third reading.
Second.
It was moved by Swank and seconded by Awig to dispense with the third reading for T126. Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no.
Mr. President?
Yes, Mrs. Swink?
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, I also move to add the emergency clause so we can get the outside shot fire to update the ordinances.
Second?
I mean,
Codes.
traffic codes.
It was moved by Swank and seconded by Awig to add the emergency clause to T125 in order, T126, for the reasons stated by Mrs. Swink. On the emergency clause alone, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. It was moved by Swank and seconded by Awig to adopt T126 with the emergency clause in place. Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swank.
Yes.
Toth.
Yes.
Avens.
Yes.
Winkle.
Yes.
Awig.
Yes.
DeVries.
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0 and becomes ordinance number 6124-2023.
T132.
T132-2023, an ordinance amending civil service rules and regulations on certain matters and in some instances differing from state regulations by exercising the power of local self-government contained in the North Ridgeville Charter.
Apologize, we had the wrong slide up there. But you did read the correct T number. Okay, we don't have any third readings this evening, so the next regular city council meeting will be held on Monday, December 18th, 2023, here in council chambers, and that meeting will begin at 7 p.m. as usual. I would just like to take an opportunity to thank Lieutenant West and the police department for being here earlier, and for Patrolman Simonik, I think was the name, for his bravery and his quick acting in that situation. Is there any final comments or questions by council or the administration? Hearing none, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, folks.